Hello, everybody. Welcome from Kim and me to Unbounded, Unapologetic, real talk, real women, real lived experience. And that's what we are all about, including the lovely Lou Seaborn, whom I'm very, very happy to welcome as our first guest on this podcast. Lou and I were chatting a few days ago, and she said something that really resonated with me. And I thought, oh, let's hop on and have that sentence and take it from there. So, Kim, you okay with that, darling?
Absolutely, absolutely. It was
Brilliant.
great. It was a great
Brilliant. I
statement.
think
Yeah.
we are all on the same page, and I really hope this helps you, everybody. So, Lou, what was it that you said?
What I said was our greatest challenges can become the very experiences that reveal who we really are.
Yeah. And
I
I
love
think,
that. Yeah.
yeah, that
Yeah.
is so, so true. Lou, why do you think that is so meaningful? I mean, you have been through some challenges yourself and you have come back, bounced forward. Why do you think that's such a meaningful sentence?
I mean, really, I suppose another way of putting that is when everything is stripped away,
Mm.
who are we?
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, for some, depending on what stage they are at in their life, that could be quite scary because one of the biggest things for us is to become authentic in who we are. Um, but sometimes we are wearing a mask because we feel we have to, or because outside external influences impose that upon us for us to survive and get through. So, Lou, Kim, being who we really are, what does
Mhm.
that mean and how do we get there?
I suppose drawing from my experience is, and I think when I gave you a bit of my bio about, our most difficult chapters are not the ones that we would have chosen. And, I know that you've been through experiences, I'm sure Kim has been through
Mm,
experiences, is, life happens and things, major life changes happen and things just get taken away.
mm,
So, in a
mm,
sense, it's a gift, even though we may not see that at the
mm,
time,
mm,
to actually discover who we are without. And, it is a scary thing
mm, mm.
because, once everything that you know has gone
Yeah,
as you knew it,
yes.
you're left with you.
Yes, and that
Yeah.
happened to
Yeah.
you. That happened to you, didn't it, Lou? You had to start completely again.
Yes.
And so yeah, that's must have been a lived experience that was very challenging and but also very empowering because you did it.
Yeah. And more than once, I
Yeah.
think these experiences build on each other
Mm,
because over time, um, you build the resilience and I think the key thing for me is deciding to trust yourself.
yeah, self-belief and self-trust. They're
Yes.
another thing that's so hard for people. And that's
Yeah.
what we all actually help people with. It's one of the few elements of the self that we're here to help with.
Yeah.
Kim, you've had to rebuild. You are actually one of the most authentic people I know. Kim was wearing a t-shirt on one of our last recordings, which said, well, somebody had to say it, so I did. Something like that.
Yeah.
And I know that now, having
Yeah.
spent a long time suppressed and not strong enough to speak out, I'm now very direct. I believe I have tact, but I'm very direct. And actually, sometimes I talk too much. So, Kim, over to you about that authenticity.
Well, uh, through Lou's talk there, what two things came to my mind. So I don't know. Wayne Dyer did an amazing, amazing movie called The Shift.
Mm.
And in The Shift, he talked about different times or seasons, he called them, of our life. And so when we're looking at everything, our age, or maybe we look back of what it used to be when we were 20s or 30s, we were in a whole, like, we were totally different people, right? Like, so that was a different season. So it's just like the seasons change, we change. And so one of the phrases that he said was, you can never step in the same stream twice.
Okay. Well, God, that's true because, of course, the water's flowing,
It's
and
always moving.
yeah,
It's always moving. Life is always moving.
always moving. And speaking of flow, I've just written to somebody to say that I am now in my flow. I'm not
Yeah.
going with the flow. In fact,
No.
I was in a pub in Hay on Wye a long time ago, and there was this Latin saying above the bar, and it started with the Pisces, and I thought Pisces mortium, and I thought, oh, I'm Pisces. What does that mean? And translated, it was only dead fish go with the flow. I thought
Mhm.
that was actually quite
That is so good. It's so
good.
good.
And
Yeah.
so being in flow of your own flow is really important. So for me, that means being authentic in the fact that I'm not pushing and hustling and saying I should, and I'm just pacing myself, which I need to at the moment. And that works. And I
Mhm.
love that Wayne Dyer, such a wise chap, the shift, because that's what my resilience shifts are called. And I'm just honing my final one to put out there called the permission shift, because that's the other thing that women struggle with. Lou, was it part of your growth to when you had to begin again? Did you have to give yourself permission to feel like, well, that was actually really shitty, and I take it from there. I mean, permission to grow.
I think it's more for me about honoring the experience, honor
Love
the
that.
experience that this is really tough.
Mm, mm,
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
a really hard experience to go through.
mm,
And you may not always see it when you're in the process of it because you're right in it. And it's rabbit in the headlights, and it's like,
mm,
what the
mhm,
you
mm,
know, wow. It's reflecting back when you think, wow, that was really, really hard.
mm.
And
Did you
for
have
me,
anybody? Sorry, go on.
I think that's when I allowed the feelings of vulnerability to come up at that
Mm,
point. Because,
mm,
when you're in it and trying to survive in a sense and,
mm,
and move forward in the best way you can, that's what you're doing.
mm,
That's what I
mm,
was focusing on.
mm,
It's a
Yep.
bit further
Yep.
down the line where I allowed that vulnerability to come up. And
mm,
and this is where self-compassion
mm,
is
mm.
so important and learning to value yourself.
How did that being allowing yourself to be vulnerable, how did that feel to you?
It was uncomfortable
Hmm. Did you have
initially.
support from anybody, emotional and mental support?
Yeah, I mean, I've been pretty resilient for for a long time because
Mm,
I mean I've got a therapy background. I've done a lot of sort of inner work, as it were.
mm, mm,
Um, so I was pretty grounded
mm,
as far as I could be. But again, like we were just saying, every situation is different.
mm.
We're not necessarily prepared for the next experience that we go
No.
through. We actually prepare as we're going through it. It's like what you were saying
Yeah.
about being in
Yeah.
the flow, be in the flow.
Yes. Yeah. But I
So
think
yeah.
a certain element of built resilience that you have it within you
Mm,
does really help. You don't go so far down if you have that.
yeah.
And I think there is a quote, something about resilience is not a luxury, it's an absolute necessity. What do you feel about that, Kim?
Oh my gosh, resilience. Um, it I heard something the other day about palm trees, why palm trees are the strongest tree that there is, and it's because they go through all of the hurricanes, and they
Yes.
literally have to bend,
And
like they
yes.
have to bend.
Yeah.
And I thought that was an amazing analogy, because our life is like that, right? Like we
Yeah.
have our strength comes from every time we have to bend.
Mm,
So
mm,
I thought that was great, and that's like the epitome of resilience, right?
Well, yes, because if we don't bend, we'll break. And that's not
Mhm.
much fun. And I loved what you said there, Lou, about learnt to survive and then thrive. That within my Women of Spirit books, it's the tag that we had was thrive, not just survive. But I think you have to learn to do the one first and put one step
Absolutely.
in front of the other. And
Yeah.
so I promised everybody we'd keep these short and sweet. I'm going to ask you, Lou, if in a minute, if you would like to end this podcast with something a little gem that you'd like to take people away with that they'd like to, Kim, what do you think about what we've discussed today about the it makes you who you are challenges?
Yeah, I often, when I consult with people, I tell them we're like a cookie recipe. So if you're making
Mm.
chocolate chip cookies, you can't leave out the chocolate chips. Like it's all part of who you are, and it's all part of your recipe, right? So yeah, so that's resilience. That's, you know, pieces and parts of who you are.
Yes.
Um, and that's kind of what we have to look at our life like. We couldn't take one element out, we wouldn't be who we are.
Oh, actually, I totally agree with that. Except that right now I've been doing about 10 days or 12 days of keto.
Oh,
So there's
awesome.
no chocolate chips in me at
Yeah,
all.
no,
But
no.
actually, I'm not suffering because I'm eating all, salads and everything. I'm enjoying the food. I'm enjoying the way it makes me
Yeah.
feel. And I've shared easily 2 kilos. But I want
Nice.
it to be a lifestyle. So anyway, that's a subject for another time. So Lou, what would you like to, as our guest, what would you like to leave us with today?
What I would say on the, who we are, it's actually, I was thinking about this before I came on. What about if we decide that we don't have to know who we are? Because what that does, that
Mm,
opens up more space for possibility so
mm,
that we
Right.
don't limit ourselves.
mm,
So,
mm.
I mean, I would invite whoever views this to say, what if I don't need to know who I am? Because
Oh,
that
that's so
that
good.
takes
Yeah.
away any sort of
Yeah,
rigid or pre
for sure.
determined identity.
Yeah. And it takes away, I try not to use the word should. And I also
Mm.
believe that a decision not to choose is a decision. You don't have to choose
Absolutely.
at that time. You can say, I'm deciding not to choose. So that also gives us the freedom and the permission to be in flow.
Yes.
Is
Yes.
that a good place
Yeah.
to end it?
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
it's great. I think the three of us would, we should do more. Not should,
Yeah.
but I mean,
Yeah.
it would be
Absolutely.
amazing
Yeah,
to
Yeah.
share more information.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
definitely.
I hope you've enjoyed this short, sharp podcast with our lovely guest, Lou Seaborn and Kim. Thank you, darling. And we will be back with you very soon. Take care, everybody. Bye bye for now.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye bye, everyone.
Bye.